NSFW, what's something unexpected you've experienced a partner do in bed, in a misguided attempt to spice things up? My wife is good at English, but it's not her first language. I had joked earlier that she should call me daddy. It was a joke. I'm not actually into that. That night, during sex, she called me father. It was weird. While I was going down on her, in an attempt to talk dirty, she said lick me where I. Now I have no problem eating ass, but it's about how you phrase it. Slapped me full in the face while I was on top of her. I was startled. Of course. I was more startled when, without skipping a beat, she exclaimed, breathless and still in the throes of passion, "I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else for a second." My ex-wife thought it'd be fun to pour honey on my dick and lick it off. Have been great. Had the honey not been cold and kinda non-pourable, she got impatient with it and popped it in the microwave for a bit. Pro tip: don't do this. Like, ever. Unless you're torturing someone and intending to burn their genitals. 50/10. Do not recommend. My friend in high school had a rather inexperienced girlfriend. She assumed that if jerking his dick felt good, that doing the same to his balls would feel good as well. All I remember was the blood-curdling scream from the other end of the house as she grabbed his entire sack in her hand and yanked hard. Apparently this was the second yank, because the first one had left him out of breath. She, of course, had thought his gasp for air after the first time had been pleasure. Edit. Thank you, kind stranger, for the gold. I almost feel badly that I am getting this from a friend's pain. Almost. I don't know if this is exactly what you were looking for, but I asked a girl to suck my balls, and she said okay but proceeded to stick her tongue in my butt. Instructions unclear. Tongue lodged in asshole. Terrible dirty talk. Accused me of trading Azul favors for corn dogs. This happened almost 10 years ago and I still give him hell for it. Haha. During lovemaking with my girlfriend back in the day, she thought it would be cute and a little hot to give me a playful bite on the cheek. She severely underestimated how hard she was biting. I screamed out, which scared her, and her unconscious reflex to the scare was to clamp her jaw tighter. Broke the skin and drew blood. But we've been married 12 years now. So, role playing with my wife. I was a dirty masseuse named Emma Harden. We have a massage table, oil, everything. I'm rubbing her down, pretending it's a professional massage, and oops, my hands start getting a bit close to her naughty bits. Instead of going with it, she starts talking about how big and strong her husband is and that he's, me, going to beat my, Emma Harden's, ass for being inappropriate with her. Defending myself against myself was a bit of a boner killer. She was a bit drunk, to be fair. She wanted to use tingle gel. The first lot had no effect, so she proceeded to baste my balls like a roast turkey. Fast forward 5 minutes and the intended tingle had been and gone. It was now at Middle-earth burn and I spent the next half hour of our raunchy night with my balls submerged in a sink of a cold water. Tingle gel is now used as a scare tactic in our house, not an incentive. Motorboated my vagina. Oh man. That reminds me of a story I saw on Reddit very similar to yours, but ended slightly differently. The dude was basically blowing a raspberry on the girl's clit as a joke, and she was like, wait, do that again, and ended up having some mind-blowing orgasm, but was too embarrassed to ever do it again because it sounded so silly. Maybe your guy read that. Had a one night stand with this chick, and while doing doggy she reached down and was able to grab me by the balls. And while I'm pounding away she's got a firm grip and she's fondling me. Definitely wasn't expecting, and it surprisingly felt great. This is one of my favorite things. Love when my wife diddles my skittles. Chick tried to suck my ball as if she were trying to suck a walnut through a straw. Most excruciating feeling ever. She decided to bite mine. Huh? I couldn't resist, they're so squishy. She did it again a week later and we broke up 2 weeks after that. Edit. For people wondering why I didn't leave earlier. She did respect what I liked for the most part. The sex wasn't terrible and it wasn't the reason we broke up. The ball biting was the only thing she acted on really without my consent, as weeks prior she had asked to do riskier things that I declined multiple times. I love my husband. But when we're in the bone zone and he's going to town, I'll say something like don't stop and then he'll stop and I do this Shakira with his hips like you like that. No. No, I told you not to stop doing what you were doing before. Not for you to try and convince me that your milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. He's since learned not to do this thing. But it's just funny that that's something he thought would interest me. Played careless whisperer when we were getting saucy. Many years ago my then GF wanted to spice things up with some massage oil. I was okay with it. Seemed pretty tame. So she gave me a full body massage. Which was nice. What I didn't realize was that her massage oil had glitter in it. I woke up late and dashed off to work without a shower. I was a cable TV tech then and the whole staff fell over laughing the instant I walked into the break room. I had colorful sparklies all over my face and arms. I rushed off to the bathroom and washed up in the disgusting little sink. My ex tried fingering me, which was fine. Until he decided it would be hot to surprise me by switching from that to full-on fisting. Sucked my dick with ice cubes in her mouth and then switched it up with hot tea. Not in bed, but my friend told me that her and her boyfriend were making out in their car and in an effort to try and spice things up she tried to get on top of him while he was in the driver's seat. She sat on the horn and scared herself less. I had a hookup who was really into softcore BDSM. Which was nice. He was a nerdy guy. Totally my type. He asked me if I wanted him to put any music on and I said sure. He wound up putting on 8-bit Final Fantasy music. Semicolon. Yeah, know what? That was pretty weird. A favorite story of ours. Her friends had convinced her she should talk dirty while we had sex. Her first try at it one night something like, "Oh, baby. Really push your penis in my vagina really hard." I chuckled a little bit. Horizontal ellipsis. I appreciate the effort. And I'm all for dirty talk if you'd like. But if you're going to talk dirty you kind of have to use dirty words. Oh, baby. Really push your penis in my vagina really hard. Oh, baby. We were young and both inexperienced. And neither of us had performed oral sex on anyone. I went first and fumbled through it. Then it came time for her to grab the mic and sing karaoke. She actually blew on my penis. Air from her lungs shot up my urethra. It was the damnedest. Weirdest sensation. Would not recommend. My fiancé was trying new blowjob motions and accidentally figured out how to give me a blowjob that puts me to sleep. If she does it that way I'm guaranteed to fall asleep in tranquil bliss. I have trouble falling asleep, so this was a great discovery. Edit. I didn't expect this to get noticed, lol. So blow you to sleep now, that's I'm new. I don't know what it is. And I am always thankful. But I've had like 3 or 4 women try and either eat my ass or stick a finger up there and I'm like, it's not necessary. Don't worry. I'll come. I don't need this. Also, how about asking first? I'm incredibly hairy and there's nothing about my ass that's particularly inviting, but they just go for it. OMG, this just reminded of a story from when I was 17. My friend's older sister and friends were giving us tips one day on what to do in bed. One girl said her BF liked her to stick a finger in his bum as he came. I thought this a great thing to try out on my then BF. Except one. I didn't mention it to him first before I tried it too. I didn't want to stick a finger bare in his ass, so as he is coming I full on shoved my finger in it but through his boxers. I always feel so bad looking back on that. Edit. Glad my awkward teenage days could make everyone laugh. Thanks for the silvers. Strangers. We were drinking bubble tea, boba, whatever, and she sucked my dick with tapioca in her mouth. Misguided and strange? Yes. Felt great? Also yes. Edit. Not a misguided attempt. More of an accident. I was new to the whole SX thing and went down on my girlfriend and turned out I ate her asshole, not her PSSY, because I was just blindly licking. I had a girl ask me to call her names like and in bed once. I happily complied. But unfortunately escalated by providing supporting evidence for why I was calling her a. Pro tip. Fellas. Do not do this. You are such a. You would someone like me. Wouldn't you? You'd a like me. You gross skank. Tried to do a naughty teacher roleplay. But they, an honor roll student, were affronted by the idea of detention. First New Year's together. My ex and I get down and dirty. And end up doing an L. Afterwards in the bathroom as we're cleaning up, he asks me if he can pee in my butt. Still feeling lizard brainy after some good SX. I agree. Dot. About 10 minutes later I rush to the bathroom because I almost shat myself due to the enema I had just received. Yes. I thought I got it all out before going back to the room. PRN star style gauging on my dong. Was dry heaving in between gasps for breath. Vomit burned the urethra. Sitting around a table late one night. Everybody there is pretty drunk. Sex stories start getting tossed out. One woman reveals that she and her main buddy have a game where he chokes her with his dick until she pukes. Then she has to lick his dick clean and slurp up any that gets anywhere. Collectively, everyone did a bitch what the reaction gif in real life. Complete silence for what felt like a minute until someone piped in to change the subject completely. I once brought a girl home from the bar. And we proceeded to get frisky. She was on top of me. And asked if I wanted it rough. I didn't wanna say no. Trying to match her adventurous. So I said sure. I had my eyes closed. And opened them to see her with her fist cocked back. And a big eating grin on her face. Before I can react. She punches me, closed fist, square in the jaw. I was not expecting that. Edit. Sorry I didn't include the aftermath. But it's pretty short. After she punched me, I came like 3 seconds later. I learned something about myself that night. She was trying to rob you, bruh. My current BF thought it would be a good idea to slap my vulva very hard. SX was over immediately and I asked him why the F he would do that and if I should slap his dick that hard. He definitely got that from PRN. Comma, if I should slap his dick that hard, it'll just bounce around like a doorstop. Try it. This was totally unintentional. And definitely was not meant to spice things up, but it ended up being this way. My partner and I were hanging out at home one night. Making dinner. Watching TV. etc. Fast forward to the bedroom. I start feeling some general discomfort down there. And all of a sudden, severe pain. Turns out, he hadn't washed his hands properly after chopping bird's eye chili peppers. Definitely didn't need that kind of spice in my life. Way back in the day, partner was into bondage. I'm blindfolded, naked, and have my hands handcuffed behind my back. Partner leads me into his room and sits me down on this top heavy wicker basket that was narrower at the bottom than the top. I did not know what I was sitting on. Nor that the balance was way off. In fact, I couldn't feel myself falling, blindfolded, until I was past the point of being able to save myself. Ate on the tile floor. At least had the presence of mind. Once I realized I was falling and I had no idea where he was in the room. I turned my head so I landed on my cheek. Had a nice bruise for about a week. My wife inserted a finger into my bum during a BJ. I didn't want to ruin the moment so I didn't say anything. I guess I'd failed to mention that I don't like having my anus touched. She knows now. Finger up the bum. Had a one night stand with a girl who tried to stick a finger in my butt without warning me first. I jumped 10 feet in the air. We laughed about it and I said no thank you. We decided to try using a butt plug for the first time together and he started pushing on it and I ended up having to ask my brother to take me and my BF to the hospital because I had a butt plug up my ass and couldn't get it out. My girlfriend in college, swear to God, creeped into bed while I was naked and awake but only kinda. Started rubbing my ass and then swiped in my ass crack at my butthole and then I heard her sniff. I was really scaroused. I've had some rough sex in my day. That's all fine and dandy. But never. In the history of can we try getting a little rough? Followed by a cute wink. Has anyone expected to be subsequently open hand slapped super hard in the face? Please. Ask your partners if it's okay to slap them in bed before you slap them. Unexpected slap to the face is no good. Edit. Guys. We did it. My comment with the most upvotes is about the time I got slapped mid-coitus and started to cry. I had a girlfriend who spoke English as a second language say slap me. She thought it meant the same thing as spank me. I thought it meant slap me across the face. I didn't slap her super hard because she's tiny. But definitely got full contact on it. She looked like she was going to kill me after. First time my girlfriend and I were able to be alone to have sex since we had started dating. We had sex prior. Just quiet. At your parents' house sex. We decided to get all the gimmicky condoms to spice up and have just a great time. Trojan fire and ice made my dick go soft. She tried to suck it to make it hard again and fast forward to her with a numb mouth. Me with a numb floppy dick. Both hysterically laughing that we totally ruined our first chance at loud. Let it all go sex. 2 years later. We still look back and laugh at this all the time. It's times like these that build bonds relationships. I swear. Edit. Yes. At your parents' house. Edit 2. Thank you for the silver. It's my first award of any kind. Glad our misery could give you a laugh. A guy once told me to get wet. Bitch as he was going down on me. I think that was supposed to be a form of dirty talk. I was very unfocused the rest of the time. I did something that kinda ruined the mood once. Me and my girlfriend at the time, we were young and she was my first, were fooling around when I had this idea. I went into the kitchen and put a handful of ice cubes in my mouth. I came back and went down on her with my now cold lips. She likes the feeling so I took it further and pushed all the ice cubes up her with my tongue. It was so cold inside her we had to stop. The ice cubes wouldn't come back out so we had to sit and wait while my girlfriend defrosted. Not me. But a friend. His GF wanted to try something to literally spice things up. So she put a blindfold on him and a few seconds later she was going down on him. Before he knows it. He said his dick felt like Satan himself was fist-eyeing his dick hole. Turns out. The crazy bitch put some Tabasco sauce in her mouth and spit it in his pee hole. Ed up thing is he stayed with her for 2 more years. He bit my nipple with such, pretty sure unintentional, force he made it bleed. After he came, cause I didn't. He then picked up a banjo from under his bed and began serenading me. Naked. All I could think of was how he was going to need to dettle the back of the banjo after. I didn't see him again. Although ironically the lack of keenness was mutual, I wonder if was meant to have been more impressed by his prowess. This is always unexpected for me and I am probably in the minority. But I don't like having my balls touched, squeezed, licked, anything like that. The worst thing for me in bed is when you have a good mood going and some wrong words or a sudden uncomfortable feeling jolt you out of it. These Idaho hairy boys are just for show. Thanks. Did you just refer to your balls as Idaho hairy boys? First time my wife and I hooked up. She tried shoving a finger up my butt because of some bad advice from a friend. He flapped the blanket like it was a pair of wings and screamed I'm a pterodactyl. Apostrophe. Edit. Thank you so much for the gold and silver. And you orgsmed immediately, right? Fingernails digging into my skin is pretty bad. Marks of a job well done. Sure. But a bit much. X was into the ear licking. Like full on Men in Black 2 tentacle tongue. Some guy in college hummed on my PSSY while going down on me. With no music or background noise. It just felt so awkward. I almost started laughing. It obviously didn't do anything for me. Weird. I faked it to get it over with. PSSY was raw. I was 19. ETC. I'm trying to go to bed and he gets all frisky. Asking if I want a round 2 and does a lil hum and I damn near lost it. My ex and I had a great sex life as we tried all kinds of things. However, we never did dirty talk. One time she wanted to give it a go. So she started. Our baby. Our baby. I stopped thinking I was hurting her. I asked, What? What did I do? She just sighed and said, never mind. After half a minute I figured out what happened. She asked me if I was too drunk to remember things and I said yes because I wanted to know where that was going, and then she started calling me daddy. She said verbatim in a little girl voice, oh daddy. Are you going to come for me? Wheatie please daddy. Make me come. I stopped in mid thrust. There was no continuing after that. XGF had a yeast infection, so said we shouldn't have sex during it. Then came back with a natural cure for the yeast infection to slather my dick with yogurt and we had sex like that. Had to reapply a couple of times. It was a weird experience. I don't know if I'd do it again. I hooked up with someone once who seemed far more experienced than I and had a lot of toys. I suddenly found myself learning what it feels like to have an L beads pulled out of you like they were the pull cord of a lawnmower. Let it rip. I had sex with a German guy and he kept calling me a so, German for so. Which might have been intended as a compliment in that specific context, like you're dirty, but it was super off-putting and kind of awkwardly hilarious. We had a great habit of drunk sex. But I always had to pee in the middle of our romp. She would always half-heartedly throw a fit. And I always threatened to pee in her. One night she tells me I can't. Even starts daring and teasing me. I peed in her. She's my wife now. I marked my turf. Edit. My girlfriend at the time, in the middle of having sex, said, are you feeling it, MR? Crabs? I immediately burst out laughing. My partner wanted me to choke her. I had only done it a few times. We practiced a few times gently to make sure I didn't crush her windpipe. So in the middle of it, we have a safe word. And I told her if she can't talk to tap if it is too much. Her eyes roll in the back of her head a lot during sex, so I was used to that. She got really quiet but kept grabbing me. I got nervous and let go a little bit, but she then pulled on me tighter, I guess to choke more. Close bracket. She tapped out shortly after. Collected her breath and we took a break. She said she definitely was very close to blacking out, which scared the out of me. She proceeded to ask me to choke her up to that point again. It was a turn on she didn't expect she was into, almost passing out. So I guess breath play.